$1 billion. That's how much money Minnesota lawmakers are putting towards solving the state's housing crisis. The legislation, which Governor Tim Walz just signed earlier this week, aims to build more homes and reduce homeowner disparities statewide. But as Northern News Now's Rob Coles explains, one local organization hopes the money will help some people in our area just get a roof over their head.
It was a week to celebrate at ACO in Duluth.
It is a huge victory, and it's much needed, and it's going to help us catch up from years where we've not had enough resources.
Governor Walz signed the housing investment bill into law, providing $1 billion to address many aspects of housing, homelessness, and more. ACO's Leanne Littlewolf says once funding from that bill becomes available, they've already got projects in the works it can help.
We have a Dabanuigan domestic violence emergency shelter. It's been 10 beds, and we're working on expanding it to double the beds.
In total, the bill allocates close to $95 million for homelessness prevention and around $100 million through the Pathways Home Act to provide emergency services and build new shelters. Northland Representative Alicia Kozlowski co-authored the legislation.
We set out on a mission to make sure that we house and that we feed our relatives, and we know that shelter saves lives.
According to Kozlowski, the money will be able to help organizations like ACO keep their doors open and delivering services to some of the community's most vulnerable.
And that the size of the grants will hopefully alleviate a lot of the burden and a lot of the stress and worry about where the dollars are going to be able to come from.
Addressing homelessness is just one aspect of the bill. There is also rental assistance and aid to help people hop on the property ladder. The bill is allocating millions of dollars in down payment assistance programs with extra funding available to help first-generation buyers purchase a home. Altogether, $200 million to help people buy properties statewide. And according to Littlewolf, the work that was done at the Capitol will be felt by many in the Northland.
What the governor and what the legislature has done is done a really huge investment in our community and for our community members.
In Duluth, Rob Coles, Northern News Now.
To get the funding, local organizations like ACO will have to request money from state agencies. Lawmakers are hoping that funding will be available at some point in the next year. We have a link to more information about the housing investment bill at northernnewsnow.com.